Greetings, everyone. In this video, I want to talk about the Spaza shops briefly. We've seen what the Secretary General of the ANC had said, the Premier of Gauteng, and the President of the Republic of South Africa. So I want to talk about Spaza shops, and of course, we then conclude by talking about some rejections of those that are applying to move to other visas. But let's start with my comrade here. Is a lover of Arsenal. Comrade Faith Silandu Dube. You know I'm Liverpool, so he's Arsenal. He then sent me this on Facebook. It's a quote from Sun Tzu. Says, I quote, "He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight." So it was this was sent in respect to our football banter thing. Was referring to Liverpool. But I think this quote is necessary for us to understand when we talk about Spaza shops. Let me read it again. He will win who knows when to fight and when not to fight. It is clear to us as the migrant community that the South African community is taking a hard stance on Spaza shop owners. There are some fights that as migrants we can engage in, but there are some fights that, that's my personal view, that as migrants we cannot fight them. Because South Africa is a sovereign country, right? It's important to understand this, that South Africa is a sovereign country. It has a right to make laws. So if South Africa says we're closing all Spaza shops, and then there should be fresh applications to meet requirements or certain standards that have been set by the South African government, as migrants we just have to respect that, right? Because we should not be seen, and we always raise this, and we raised this in some meeting with the ANC leadership at Luthuli House, that us as migrants, we do not seek to co-govern with the ANC. Neither do we seek to co-govern with the government of national unity in South Africa. No, we are migrants. We understand our place and our space. So if South Africa says we are closing down all Spaza shops, it is South Africans, right, who should be standing up and saying, no, you can't do that. Not us migrants. We should not be in the forefront. So it should be South Africans. I have seen South African comrades who are disagreeing with the position that is being taken. They are South Africans. We are not South Africans. So it's important to choose the fights that we should fight. And some fights, we just let them go. Right? So I thought it's important to say this, and this is my personal view, that some fights are not necessary. Because the fact of the matter, if South Africa says there must be regulation, it wants to regulate Spaza shops, and it comes up with laws to regulate Spaza shops, and they set these requirements and say, if you do not set these requirements, you are not going to own a Spaza shop. The best that we can do as a migrant community is to ensure that our own members in the migrant community do meet the new requirements that have been set. Because we need to respect South Africa as a sovereign state, that it has a right to come up with its own laws. This is why, as the leadership of the Zimbabwe community in South Africa, when the South African government said in November 2021 that it was going to discontinue with the Zimbabwe exemption permits, we said South Africa is a sovereign state. We respect the decision of the South African cabinet. Yes, the decision is not favorable to us as Zimbabweans, right? But we said we will not go to court and challenge a decision by a sovereign state. That's what we said. And it was South Africans that then went to court, Helen Suzman Foundation, COMSA, that went to court. And we said that is fine because it is South Africans that are going to court. So if other South African organizations will want to challenge the issue of regulating Spaza shops, which will then see the majority of migrants who are running Spaza shops being left out, we think it is them that should take up the fight. But I don't think we ourselves as migrants, we can take that fight. Some fights, we need to be clear that there are some fights that we can engage in, and some fights we should not, as migrants. And I'm saying that this is my personal view, right? So let's get to some people that are applying for to move. Someone I will not state their name. They applied for a visa because their sister is documented, applied for a relative's visa under a section of a sister, because the sister is on a visa, is legal in South Africa. Then this applicant then applied under their sister. So you might be a migrant. Your brother or your sister, your aunt, your uncle is legal in South Africa and you want to apply under them. So this person is then rejected for the following reasons, which will also help your own cause, because you might also want to do the same thing. The application, of course, was rejected on the following basis that I quote: applicant was admitted in the Republic for holiday purposes. Therefore, he or she is not allowed to change status in the Republic. Immigration Directive number 7 of 2019 is meant for first step kinship and not brothers and sisters. Applicant should change status at her country of origin, close quote. So your sister or your brother, your aunt is legal in the country. You are not their child. You then apply under them. You are going to be rejected on the same basis that this applicant was rejected, because you are not the biological child of the holder of a permit. So this person was rejected. So if then you, because I've heard others saying, my uncle has a permanent residence, can I apply under them? My brother has a permanent residence, can I apply under them? You will not qualify. This is what this is saying. And of course, there are other ZEP holders who have applied for critical skills visa, who have been rejected on the basis that they did not submit the proof of qualifications, evaluation certificate from the South African Qualifications Authority, right? If you are applying for a critical skills visa, that is needed, but only for a general work visa, right? I think this is key. You are applying for a general work visa as a holder of a Zimbabwe exemption permit. You do not need your certificates, academic certificate, to be evaluated, because in the most of cases, you might not even be in possession of a single academic certificate. So already it was waived. But if you are applying for critical skills, because it must be seen, you must submit to the department that indeed your qualifications fall under the critical skills. And then the last one, the person that did not have a ZEP applied for a waiver, right? Applied for a general work visa, not a waiver, applied for a general work visa, but they have no ZEP, and this person was not granted a waiver. So the rejection is based on the basis that they don't have a waiver. It says no waiver to change status while in the country, because this person is not on ZEP, right? So this person cannot qualify for a general working visa because they were not granted a waiver. Because to apply for a general working visa, you must be granted a waiver, which for Zimbabwe exemption permit holders, it has already been done in terms of the requirements that have been removed: the police clearance from Zimbabwe, radiology, certificate from the South African Qualifications Authority, certificate from the Department of Labor. But even though you still need to submit your application for a waiver, and then your waiver gets granted, then you apply for a general working visa. But if you are you do not hold, you are not a holder of a ZEP, but somehow you then manage to apply for a general working visa, you are going to be rejected in the same manner as this person was rejected. Please like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel. If you are on TikTok, please do follow us. Otherwise, goodbye.